Choosing the right food for your cat can be hard. There are so many brands and types of cat food on the market that it can be overwhelming. What ingredients should I look for in a cat food? How do I read the food labels? And what cat food is healthy for your cat? I am the Cat Butler, and my two ragdoll cats, Teemo and Arya, will help you answer these questions. We will also walk you through 6 different types of cat foods and discuss its pros and cons, so that by the end of the video, you can buy the right cat food that works for you. If you want your cat to live a long and healthy life, what they eat is very important. If you're looking for the best cat food to buy, there are some important criteria to consider. Cats are obligate carnivores, which means that they rely on nutrients found in meat. Cats evolved as hunters that consume prey containing high amounts of protein, moderate amounts of fat, and a minimal amount of carbohydrates, and their diet still requires these general proportions today. Animal protein is important because this is where cats get taurine. Cats are not able to synthesize taurine and must get it from meat. A cat fed a diet deficient in taurine can lead to blindness, dilated cardiomyopathy, which is a disease of the heart muscle, and digestive problems. So it is important that any cat food has high amounts of protein and low carbohydrates. Food labels can be confusing. The list of ingredients can be super long, and you're not sure what something like chicken meal means. I'll try to simplify it and make it easier to understand. The first thing you should look at is the front of the can or bag. Let's use this can of wet food. Rules state that if you use a simple name like turkey and turkey liver, the can of wet food should be about 95% of the product. The simpler the name, the better. Names that say chicken dinner, chicken platter, or chicken recipe will be about 25% to 95% of the product. The next thing you should look at is the ingredient list. Ingredients must be listed from the most to the least by weight. This means that the majority of food is made of the first few ingredients. Ideally, you want animal protein to be at the top of the ingredient list, like chicken, chicken liver, or chicken broth. You want exact meat ingredients that you understand, not ingredients like chicken meal. Why? Chicken meal is a combination of chicken flesh, skin, and bone that is ground down, melted, and then dried at high temperatures to make a powder. Because it is heated at extremely high temperatures, much of the nutritional quality is lost in the cooking process. Another ingredient you'll see is meat byproducts. These are essentially leftovers from the human food industry. These products would include cow feet, turkey necks, or chicken head. Watch out for filler ingredients. These typically include corn, rice, wheat, or soy. These ingredients have no nutritional value for your cat and contribute to obesity and diabetes. Lastly, for ingredients, please avoid carrageenan. It is used to preserve foods and can cause cancer, so please don't choose cat food with that ingredient. The last food label I want to talk about is the guaranteed analysis. Guaranteed analysis provides information on 4 nutrients: protein, fat, fiber, and moisture that are in the product. This guaranteed analysis would differ between wet and dry food, as wet food has water content. You would need to do a little math to have an apples-to-apples comparison between wet and dry food on a dry matter basis. To make it easy, I would use the guaranteed analysis to compare against the same category of food, such as comparing wet food against wet food. Wet food is usually better than dry food, so I would apply that logic to deciding between cat foods. If you enjoyed this video so far, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. We make videos on helping you become the best cat owner, so please join us. When it comes to nutrition, the saying, "You get what you pay for," definitely rings true. Quality cat food that is high in meat protein, low in carbohydrates, and free of fillers is going to be more expensive. Of course, for most of us, budget is a consideration when it comes to selecting cat food. But keep in mind that while you can't control your cat's genetic makeup, you can control what you feed your cat. And a high quality diet will save you money in the long run because you'll spend less on veterinary bills. There are 6 different types of cat food: dry food, wet canned food, freeze-dried raw food, fresh cooked cat food, home cooked diet, and a raw meat diet. I'll go over each type of food in the next few minutes and recommend a brand that I think has the highest quality product for that category. I'll link these recommended products in the description below. Dry food or kibble is typically made from ground beef or chicken, dough, cereals, and vegetables. As a result, kibble is high in carbohydrates, even for the grain-free varieties. The carbohydrates in dry food act as fillers needed to hold the other ingredients together. Kibble is made by mixing the ingredients into a dough that is then cooked, made into little biscuits, and then cooled again in an oven to remove all moisture. Once it's cooled off, vitamins lost in the cooking process are added back, and a coating is added to the cooked biscuit to add some flavor. So the pros of dry food is that it is affordable, will not spoil when it is left out, and easier to store. Now the con is it contains too much carbohydrates, which is nutrition cats don't need. Cats are carnivores and need to eat meat. Cats eating too much carbohydrates will result in a large sugar intake that increases the chance of obesity, diabetes, and other chronic illnesses. Cats also get most of their moisture from their food. And another con is dry food lacks moisture. While cats who eat only dry food will generally drink more water, they still don't get enough moisture to support all their bodily functions and essentially live in a constant state of low-level dehydration, which can lead to bladder and kidney problems in the future. Lastly, dry food has been advertised to act like a toothbrush, helping to reduce plaque and tartar. This unfortunately is not true. Dry food leaves a carbohydrate residue in the cat's mouth that actually encourages the growth of tartar and plaque. Only brushing your cat's teeth daily can prevent plaque and tartar buildup. If you can afford to spend more for your cat's food, I don't recommend feeding your cat kibble. The cons far outweigh the pros. If you do have to choose a dry food, I would recommend the Ross brand. If you look at the first 2 ingredients, it features dehydrated chicken and dehydrated deboned chicken as their top 2 ingredients. So the product is made with animal protein and not meat meals or animal byproducts like this product, which uses chicken meal. Canned wet food has a moisture content of greater than 75%. This makes it a great source of water for your cats. Given the higher moisture content in canned food, these foods are typically made with fresh or frozen meats in combination with a protein source that comes from grains. The meats are blended with water, fats, and vitamins and placed in a can where a heating process ensures that foodborne pathogens are destroyed. Wet food can be in a pate or a shredded texture. So the pros of wet food is its 75% plus moisture content. Cats naturally have a low thirst drive, and they don't feel the need to drink water often. Therefore, if your cat becomes dehydrated, it can lead to bladder problems and urinary tract diseases. For example, dehydration can lead to bladder stones that can lead to life-threatening urethra blockages, especially in male cats. Therefore, getting enough water is the single most important factor in reducing urinary tract diseases in cats. More water intake also helps cats with kidney disease. Other pros of wet food include it being easier to eat, especially for senior cats that lack teeth. The cons of wet food include it costing more than dry food and it spoiling much more easily. If you have to choose a wet food, I recommend the Raw's brand. I like this brand because it makes every effort to maintain the highest standards for quality and nutrition. Most of the ingredients are sourced from the United States and Canada, and its food is cooked in small batches to ensure safety and quality. The meats used are single-source proteins. You can choose between the pate or shredded option. The shredded option is cooked in broth. Au jus uses more premium protein and has more moisture content. Freeze-dried raw foods offer the same advantages of fresh or frozen raw food, but in a neater, easier format for people to handle. These diets simply need to be rehydrated with water to make it a complete meal. Freeze-drying is a technique in which a food is frozen and put in a vacuum so that the water content will go from ice to vapor. The food product is then sealed in airtight packaging. This removes all moisture from the food, making it more shelf-stable at room temperature for longer periods of time than non-freeze-dried foods. Freeze-dried cat food is a raw food product, meaning that it has not been cooked or pasteurized with heat. The pros of freeze-dried raw food is it's a single-source animal protein and has a decent shelf life. The cons is you need to rehydrate the food as it lacks moisture. It is also quite pricey compared to dry food. The brand I recommend for freeze-dried raw food is Open Farm. I like that the ingredients used in the food are transparent. I would say freeze-dried raw food and premium wet food are tied for quality. Fresh cat foods offer food that are less processed and have fewer preservatives by refrigerating the food to maintain its freshness. Some cats may prefer the texture and taste of fresh foods as opposed to canned foods. The pros of fresh cat food is that the quality of the food you are feeding your cat is higher. You're getting meat that is fresher and only cooked lightly like you would at home. The con is that fresh food has a shorter shelf life, and also your cat needs to eat it within an hour or it will go bad. Fresh cat food is also pricier than all other types of cat food we have talked about so far. The brand I recommend for fresh cat food is Smalls. It is high quality and is made in a human-grade facility. Teemo and Arya's cousin, Yumi, eats Smalls and loves it. Cooking food for your cat could be a fun way to provide your cat with quality food. You have control over the ingredients, so you can provide the highest quality ingredients and meet any specific dietary needs if your cat has an allergy. It can also appeal to picky eaters. Now, the cons to home-cooked cat food is it's time-consuming. You'll have to dedicate time every few days to making cat food. Making cat food at home can also be more expensive. The raw meat diet resembles the diet a cat would eat in the wild. Generally, a raw diet is one that includes animal protein, typically muscle meat, organs, and bones. To be considered truly raw, the food is not processed using heat. There are two ways to feed your cat a raw meat diet. either by making the food yourself or buying it commercially. If you would like to learn more about making a homemade raw meat diet, I'll link it in the description below. The benefits of feeding raw food include reducing the chances of obesity and diabetes due to lower carbohydrates in the cat's food, more water intake due to the higher moisture content, less smelly poop, a shinier coat, better dental health, more energy, better urinary health. That is a lot of pros. Now some of the cons. The raw meat diet is one of the most expensive options for feeding your cat. Fresh quality meat is expensive. Another con is if you're immunocompromised, dealing with raw meat may put you at risk of bacteria. So I don't recommend feeding raw meat if you're immunocompromised. The bacteria is more of an issue for the human rather than the cat. For us humans, I recommend thoroughly washing your hands and sourcing high-quality meats from trusted sources with high safety standards to reduce the chances of bacteria contamination. As for our cats, bacteria is less likely to get them sick. As a carnivore, the cat's digestive tract is short and acidic, and processes raw food highly efficiently in about 12 hours. This gives very little time for bacteria to proliferate and harm our cat. The raw meat diet is what I feed my cats, Teemo and Arya, over the past 3 years since they were babies. Teemo and Arya mean the world to me, and I wanted to provide high quality meat in their diet. I decided to go the homemade route, spending every 2 weeks making their food. And I've seen the benefits of a raw meat diet firsthand. Despite eating a good amount of food, Teemo and Arya do not gain weight easily on a raw meat diet. And on our annual blood and urine tests, Teemo and Arya have been healthy. As for a commercial option, choosing a local option may be the best. You may have a raw food pet store nearby that makes fresh batches of raw food every day, so check it out. If you live in San Francisco, this is Jeffrey's Natural Pet Foods. They make fresh raw food for your pet, and the quality is great. If you live in the area and are interested, I'll link their information in the description below. I hope that this video helped you learn how to buy the right cat food that works for you. Choosing the right cat food is a very important decision. Comment down below, what do you feed your cat? And what has your experience been like?